Hi, this is Dr. Pike again for Leading with Communication, Chapter 14, LDR350, and this chapter is entitled Innovating. I want to let you know that this chapter and the next will be abbreviated to allow you time to compile and get together your critical assignment. Change, meet resilience. We are often unable to see potential problems before they turn into crisis because of the self-created illusionary cocoons that we place ourselves in. One of the leader's primary responsibilities is to enable others to realize their resilience and the important roles that they have to play in controlling their futures. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, thinking like optimists, and adapting and growing through disruption. The role of resilience in the change process, and this is covered in page 261 of your text, resilient people tend to be more positive and optimistic. They tend to be more focused, and they can clearly envision their goals and direct their energies towards those goals. They're flexible. They do not limit themselves to what is familiar or how things have always been done. Resilient people are organized. They develop systems to handle ambiguity or uncertainty. They have disciplined courses of action. They're proactive, and they excitedly seek to engage in change. In paving the way for change, we have to understand why people do not want to change. People may not trust those who are asking for the change and therefore view the change as unnecessary. They might worry that the change will result in downsizing and perhaps eliminate their job. People imagine that they may not be up to the change due to the lack of skills once it's implemented. People wonder if the change could mean that they will suffer a loss in personal power or status because they might suddenly need to share resources or no longer be able to make decisions for themselves. The leader's role is to reframe the idea of change so it is viewed as an opportunity and not a liability. Leadership expert John Cotter suggests the following steps. A leader needs to help receivers perceive an untapped opportunity as urgent, and they need to believe that maintaining the status quo may find them in a crisis, so they cannot see changing to a more risky paradigm. The leader needs to identify a team of supporters, a guiding coalition, whom others admire and respect, partnering with them in the pursuit of the opportunity. The leader then needs to communicate a compelling vision, uncomplicated and clear. It should push others forward into the future. It should clarify the organization's purpose, values, and the goal. The leader needs to communicate the vision repeatedly, consistently, through a variety of means, and in ways that speak directly to the stakeholders and followers. Repetition is essential. The leader needs to give those involved the power to act and take risks so they do not feel powerless, so they get the right people doing the right things. The leader needs to plan and attain reachable goals. Small wins can be huge. Wins of any size help the leader to create support for the same change. The leader needs to emphasize achievements, building on them to yield more change. The leader needs to institutionalize progress so that innovation becomes habit, and this becomes a continuing process and organizational pursuit. Change managing, shaping the path. To manage change, a leader must be able to harness the emotions of the people involved so that they willingly walk down the path to a new future you envision for the organization. Leaders need to find ways to get followers on board emotionally. This is equally as important as engaging them intellectually. Phrase what you want in ways that inspire. Inspire and excite others. Do not order them. Leaders need to help followers develop resilience when facing change so that their defenses don't harden to the change. You need to give them a sense of control over their own futures, thereby reinforcing their willingness to respond more positively to the changes that you're proposing. Creativity is the key to unleashing innovation. For the leader, fostering change and innovation and creative thinking go hand in hand. When we're talking about change, we're talking about these things on a spectrum level. Like they happen spontaneously sometimes, or sometimes they can be very well planned. When we're talking about change, there is a continuum that exists. We begin with evolutionary change, and this is an incremental change or a continuous improvement plan. It has a goal to make things better, and it's typically implemented very quickly. Revolutionary change defines a radical breakthrough or re-engineering. Its goal is to make things different, and it typically takes longer to implement. The challenge to the leader is to know what type of change is needed for the situation by asking and answering the following questions. Would it be better to build on current structures or create new ones? Are incremental improvements called for, or would it be better to come up with something totally different? Are there constraints you need to work within, or possibilities that are limitless? Are you seeking something that works within systems you currently use, or do you need a completely restructuring of the organization? And is there an organizational need for tweaking, and is total transformation necessary? The most dramatic change involves altering the vision, mission, and values of the organization, as well as the kinds of people and processes used to accomplish the organization's work. Instead of intimidating others, your role as a leader should be to challenge the status quo and find a different and better way. Your creativity is required. A leader's role is to create an environment that breaks others out of comfortable mindsets, and this can sometimes cause fear. People need autonomy and work that is meaningful and makes a difference. They need to be able to have time to share and collaborate because collaboration drives creativity. As a leader, if you experience difficulty, you ask yourself what constraints you unconsciously place on the problem or personnel. By challenging and changing norms and procedures and encouraging new understandings and actions, you as the leader can help the organization grow, develop, catalyze, change, and innovate. Okay, that's it for Chapter 14. We're moving on to Chapter 15.